Calling Calcio time! Kristen Cupo and yours truly welcome the soothing, knowledgeable voice of Andres Cordero as we discuss Inter's heroic exit from the Champions League, Juventus the only one left in the tournament, the Scudetto race, and the rest of the weekend in Serie A. Calling Calcio begins right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Calling Calcio from Qué Golazo. Thank you so much for being part of the family Qué Golazo pod on Twitter. This is a live show. We want your comments, your questions, everything that you have in store for Kristen Cupo and, of course, Dre Cordero. Get us, by the way, to 10,000 subs, and one lucky viewer gets the gift card for a $100 Paramount Plus subscription. We'll announce the winner on next week's Calling Calcio. Remember, though, anything less than 10K subscribers and the $100 subscription to Paramount Plus gift card is going nowhere. So help us get to 10K. Kristen Cupo, how are you?
I am amazing today. No, I'm having a pretty good day. I realized that we had Matteo on last week, and I had a few bad predictions for match day 28. I really am pleased to see that Roma won, despite the fact that I really handed that to Atalanta prematurely. But otherwise, I think we had a pretty good weekend of solid fixtures. I know Dre was on the call. But yeah, so let's get into week 29, I guess, right?
Absolutely. And there's no such thing as, what is a week of football and calcio without doing some bad predictions, right, Christine? I do it every single week. It doesn't.
Hello, yes, I'm here at the meeting, and I just want to say I was wrong in advance.
80% of success is showing up. That's really it. That's really it. Dre Cordero, the soothing, knowledgeable voice of Dre Cordero. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. That is extremely kind, by the way. But anytime somebody says something like, oh, the soothing voice or dulcet tones, and then I hear back one of my commentary clips, and it's me screaming into a microphone, like just completely unattached from reality, just yelling. But yeah, sure, dulcet and soothing. I'll take it.
You really do have a very ASMR commentary voice. But I can understand when I listen to myself on playback or that's reality. It's like Bizarro SpongeBob. And you're like,
when I was a kid, I wanted to, I don't know why I sort of like fantasized about being a jazz radio DJ. Like
I see it, my friend.
Just, be playing like old Coltrane records for people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember this now because this is gonna be like my vis-a-vis make a wish for Dre. It's gonna be like Dre's now a jazz host.
That's what I picture. I picture Dre Cordero just going, coming up next, John Legends, all of you. And by the way, what a great assist from Juan Cuadrado. I love it. Dre Cordero, welcome to the show. Kristen Cupo and everybody that's watching, welcome to the Calling Calcio family. We want your questions. We want your comments specifically about what we're going to talk about today. We'll just do the rundown for you. We're going to talk about Italian teams in Europe, of course, and, what they need to do in order to keep advancing. We know how sexy Serie A is, but we also want to see some of them lift the European trophies as well. We'll also do a little video from Marco Messina, who's basically having the time of his life in Italy. Like, I need to get his agent. Sorry to my agent. I need to switch agents because my goodness, what a trip. And then all of us will talk about the Scudetto race because it continues to be so exciting. Kristen Cupo, how about we begin with you? First of all, Christine, last weekend, you had fun, huh? Napoli bar.
I've actually only recently gotten the ringing to stop in my one ear, but I have.
The Milan bar was louder, right?
Dressed to redeem myself for the AC Milan fan club of New York City because they were pointing out, rightfully so perhaps, that I was aggressively blue on Sunday. Ooh. So I, we fixed a few things today.
You didn't bring another top to when you went to Milan. That's true, actually. You stayed blue the whole time. That's very brave, Kristen Cooper.
Or, maybe I was trying to start some controversy. That was my backup plan, is like fist fight, calcio, mashup. I'm into combat sports.
Dre, how about we begin with Inter Milan? Because even though they're out of the Champions League, it was a pretty heroic performance. And obviously, Alexis Sanchez getting that red didn't help, etc. But how did you see Inter Milan's loss overall in aggregate to Liverpool, their performance in the second leg, and also what can they take away? What can Simone Inzaghi take away from the Champions League and their journey?
So I don't think any of us were picking Inter as a legit Champions League, title-winning side this season. That said, you're never happy to go out. I don't subscribe to the idea of, oh, you're eliminated, now you can focus on the league, or now you can focus on the cup. I think as long as you're competing for something, you should be trying to win that something on that given day. But if you do have to go out and you're going up against a team like Liverpool in Anfield, that's the way you want to do it. With a win, arguably their biggest win, just isolated those 90 minutes, arguably the biggest win that Inter have had all season against one of the teams that I think we do consider one of the real legitimate contenders to win the trophy. And so the best result for Inter would have been one that sent them through to the next round. The worst result would have been one where they got embarrassed at Anfield and it could carry over into their performances elsewhere. This was somewhere in the middle, and I think probably a net positive in that you win away at against a team that people probably didn't give you a whole lot of opportunity to win. You made Liverpool sweat because they were sweating down the final stretch of that game. Yes, they hit the woodwork. I don't care. They won 1-0. And now you can take that big game experience into your remaining cup matches, into your remaining Serie A games, because Inter still do have a chance to improve on last season, right? Because they can win the domestic double, and they ought to be one of the real favorites to do it.
Yeah, we have a good comment here for you, CC. I think Des Norris, our producer, was telling us to tee you up. Why don't you bring it up, Des Norris? Here we go. Gabe says, heard rumors that Christine said something positive about Inter on the Twitter site recently. Need the source to confirm or deny. Christine, answer for yourself.
Can confirm, while my personal rooting allegiance belongs to Juve, and that typically prohibits me from saying anything kind about Inter, I do try to be a little bit objective. So honestly, to Dre's point, Inter were not slated to go in and win this whole kit and caboodle here, but they did put in admirable work. I think that the squad demonstrated some toughness. I didn't agree with, and despite the fact that last week we were talking about how we try not to criticize substitutions, I didn't particularly agree with some of Inzaghi's substitutions that he had made. Otherwise, the squad was firing on all pistons to the best of their ability against a Liverpool side that has been fairly dominant. I mean, even past season. So not surprising. I did say at least two sparse, kind things about Inter. For me, though, big picture, this means that by default, Serie A has to continue to become more and more competitive. And so that's great for the sport. I'm here for that, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah. I think go ahead, Dre. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a really important moment of the season for Inter, because when you take into account just how good Liverpool have been, right? Liverpool were perfect in the Champions League in the previous 7 games coming into this one, right? Including the first leg. They had gone something like 29 games at Anfield without a loss across all competitions. And for Inter, it was all the opposite. Inter started the season with all of the fanfare as the sort of odds-on prohibitive favorite to repeat, despite, losing Lukaku and Hakimi, deepest squad. I think most people picked them to repeat, but they weren't doing particularly well. They had gone on a real struggle, 5 games winless before they beat Salernitana. We didn't really, get too perked up about beating Salernitana because it's, arguably the worst team in Serie A. And so in arguably the roughest part of Inter's season, they beat an incredibly good and a team carrying a very, very good streak, both at home and in the competition, in Liverpool. And so this has the potential to churn Inter's form around. They weren't going to get too, puffed up about beating Salernitana. They can take something from a 1-0 win where they weren't inferior to Liverpool. And so I think this is a pivotal moment at just the right point going into the second leg of the Copa, going down the final stretch with 10 games remaining in Serie A, in a time when now Napoli are very much in contention. Milan are very much in contention. And I wouldn't write Juve off, but I'm not quite putting them in contention.
Well, Christine will take that. And by the way, Bayer Leverkusen has scored. So it's 1-0 against Atalanta. I wanted to just bring up one more point to both of you. I'll go back to you, Dre, and then Cece, you jump in, because yes, absolutely. Listen, getting anything at Anfield is very difficult, okay? And it's commendable. And obviously, even after the red card, there was some possibility. I mean, that Lautaro Martinez golazo was just one part of the cherry. But I was very surprised, Dre, that Edin Dzeko didn't even see the field, because I thought that he would have been a good tool in this game. He knows the Premier League. He would have given a different dynamic. In fact, Liverpool don't do too well when it's a combination of a sort of, snappy, quick-fired player like Lautaro and somebody that's a little stronger and possibly more clinical in the box like Dzeko. So I was very surprised that he didn't see anything. What'd you make of that?
So I think Dzeko is absolute class. I do. I think his hold-up play is terrific. I think he's every bit as good a playmaker as he is a goal scorer. I think he surprised people with the volume of goals that he's scored so far this season. Not his best, but up there and probably more than they would have expected when they signed him at the start of the season. He's someone who's supposed to be a bit of a facilitator and somebody who Lautaro is supposed to play off of quite well. That said, Alexis Sanchez looks like he's 23 again. He's played really well of late, and I was not at all disappointed to see the combination of Lautaro and Alexis start. If one of those two would have sat, it maybe was Lautaro who had been on a lengthy goal drought.
Yeah,
and this is the kind of striker that Lautaro is, and I'm not here to pile on him. I think, save for Messi, Lewandowski, and Cristiano Ronaldo, all goal scorers go through some dry spells. The good news for Inter is when Lautaro scores one, he tends to score a bunch right after. And so for the next 3, 4, 5 games, he carries that confidence. It helps boost him into the best version of Lautaro Martinez, which they're going to need going forward. Should Dzeko have come on in the second half at some point? Possibly. That said, Liverpool are very fast, and Dzeko is very not. He's like running on shallow water. And so I could see where sort of some of the physical limitations might not have made him the ideal player to take on the Reds.
I mean, who's also signing up to charge full speed ahead at like VVD?
Right.
I'm like 6'4". I don't know. Maybe no. Maybe
I just think the experience from the Premier League and Dzeko, and yes, Liverpool are very good. They're very fast, etc. But there was a moment there where you could have been a little bit more alternative in your dynamism up front, and sometimes that's something that riles Liverpool. In fact, that's what West Ham nearly did in the previous game. So I was a little surprised by that. Des, you have a graphic for us showing us Inter's Champions League progress over the last 4 seasons. Wow, I mean, look at that. Cici, comments on this one, because obviously from 2018, third in group stage, 2019, 2020, third in group stage again, fourth in, last season, and then, of course, second in group stage, eliminated in the round of 16. What do you make of that, Christine Cooper?
I feel like they've been building year over year, and that's been irrespective of their managerial shifts. Obviously, Conte not known as a Champions League guy in any way, shape, or form, but sort of that umbrage and switching over to Inzaghi, I think that was the perfect transition for them to maintain some of that momentum despite personnel changes. This isn't surprising to me. I think that we're seeing that shift from singular dominance of the years of Juve, just clobbering everybody in just even Serie A. It's shifting. And so we're seeing it flourishing into Champions League too.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do the same thing and use hindsight to say I'm not surprised now that they improved.
I have a crystal ball. Dre, we're both super smart, and nobody can possibly
yeah.
We're right.
If I can make all my predictions after the fact, I would just be 100%.
Monday morning quarterbacking is just the best. I love it. Yeah.
That said, I do think that they are genuinely better than they were a year ago, and that's saying something considering that they're the reigning Scudetto winners. That they had Antonio Conte, who was brilliant with them, and obviously was so coveted by other teams in the Premier League and elsewhere after what he accomplished with Inter. But I think this is a more dynamic team, a more balanced team. Yes, even losing Lukaku and Hakimi, who we don't really even need to bring up anymore because they've gotten goals from everywhere. I think there's only 3 field players on the entire Inter roster to have played significant minutes this season and not score in all competitions. And so they've made up for the Lukaku and Hakimi goals by just spreading it around, and I think they get goals from everywhere. They've got arguably the best back 3 in Serie A. They've got arguably the best midfield trio in Serie A, even though Barella was missing this time. So I'm not at all stunned that they improved on their Champions League from the last couple of campaigns, and I think probably give them a better draw, give them not Anfield in the second leg, and maybe we're talking about how far can Inter go as opposed to just being impressed with them reaching the round of 16 for a change. Yeah,
no, absolutely true. And the blessing in disguise from last season, as both of you alluded to, the fact that they won Serie A because of that. So we'll see what happens there. All right, Christine Cooper, it's Juventus time. Their only team, the Italian team remaining in the Champions League. They got obviously Villarreal. We did do a poll question here, or it's a call to action. How far can they go? This is, a difficult question because it depends not just Villarreal, but what happens after the fact as well. Christine Cooper, Juventus, your team, what do you think?
I think that they can win this second leg of Villarreal. I just think that it's going to be really, really challenging beyond that. They're just so heavily injured at this point. The first leg, I think that they managed pretty well, but it was your predictable or less than predictable Vlahovic 33-second goal, which is beautiful, but probably less beautiful when you're Juve and you know that means that Allegri is making you defend for 90 plus minutes. It's interesting how even Allegri with that match went with like a hybrid, like 3-5-2, 5-4-1. And both of them could have taken more shots. By all means, that entire match, like Villarreal could have gone after it. And even they didn't really, I mean, even getting outshot, Juve could have been more effective. I hope that they learned something from that last matchup, but I don't think that my suspicion is you're not going to teach an old dog new tricks with Allegri there. So,
Drake?
Yeah, I probably should admit this, but I'll say, well, as a neutral, but also as a commentator, when you're broadcasting a Juve game and they score an early goal, you're like, oh no, like the game's just going to grind to an absolute, right? So yeah, Vlahovic scores 30 some odd seconds in, and I thought
it's the Knicks are up by 20 at the half. Also, the Knicks are up by 20 at the half.
I mean, this actually makes me feel a lot better because it means it's a universal anxiety where Dre is sitting in the booth going, "Oh,
yeah."
It's going to be a long remaining.
So the defender's shoes are nice today. Like what?
That said, when you consider the Juve teams that made the Champions League final, the team that lost to Barcelona in 2015, a historically good Barca side, the team that lost to Real Madrid in 2017, a historically good Real Madrid side, those were Juve teams that were, if not running away with Serie A, definitely finishing in like the upper 80s and lower 90s in terms of points. This is not that Juve. And so, the quality of Serie A, I think, is higher now than in those years. But that said, I think the quality of Juve is probably lower now than it was in those years. And they needed a go-to volume goal scorer that they can count on, right? They got that in the January transfer window. Getting Vlahovic gives them a legit chance to go deeper into this competition. Mm-hmm. Without him, I don't give them a chance to even get past Villarreal because I think Villarreal are legitimately good. Villarreal beat Atalanta in Bergamo this season. In recent weeks in La Liga, they've beaten Betis and Real Sociedad away from home. And so 1-1, no away goal going back or going to Turin for that second leg. I think Villarreal have a really good shot to just knock off Juve here. And if Juve exit, go on.
With Europa League, like you can never really count Mr. Deeds. I mean, Emery out.
Mr.
Deeds. That's his way,
I forgot about your Arsenal allegiance as well. Yeah, that's very true. Listen, I think there's a good point to be made here, though, about momentum and the rhythm of a game from a Juventus perspective. Had Dusan Vlahovic not scored so early, I wonder the mentality, from a Juventus standpoint, especially against an Unai Emery side that's very smart, that doesn't freak out, right? And that kind of takes its time. That's why it was a Dani Parejo game, just after an hour. And to your point, Drake Cordera, no away goals. I mean, that benefits Villarreal massively because they can just go in here and be like, all right, we're away from home, but let's just play. Let's just do what we can do.
And they're adaptable too. Like you mentioned, Unai Emery's got 4 Europa League titles. He's the reigning champion of the Europa League. He's
the king of Europe
with Arsenal. So, but it's not the same level. It's not the same level of competition, but it is a similar type of competition. And he sets his teams up very well. He won 3 in a row with Sevilla, which is a lesser squad than arguably he has now. That said, I think Villarreal is an adaptable team. They're only 7th in La Liga, right? So they're fighting to try and make it to Europe next season. But that said, they're top 5 in both goals for and goals against. You make it a sort of bogged down, difficult to win defensive game, they can play that game. You make it a shootout like Atalanta and Bergamo when there were 5 goals, they can win that game as well. And so I think Juve absolutely have their hands full. And this is a 50-50 for me. It could go absolutely either way.
Give me your prediction, Drake Cordera.
I just said 50-50. No, I'm going to go ahead.
That's not a prediction. That's like
go either way.
I'm going to go ahead and put Juve 1-0 because the goal will come in the second half and they'll get through.
I like it. Christine, come on, your team. You're being optimistic here.
I'm going to have to go with Dre on this and go 1-0 Juve only because rumor has it Alberto Moreno will be out. And while Villarreal certainly have other integral players, he's pretty important for them. So here we go.
Fingers crossed indeed. Arnaud Danjuma is a friend of the show, but this is going to be a tricky one. Just for the sake, because a bigger friend is, the Serie A team, including, of course, you two. So I'll go with a Juventus win.
You're outnumbered here, LME.
Ilias is in the house, by the way. Ilias, thank you so much for being here, our loyal viewer always. By the way, we hit 10,000 subscribers. It's $100 gift card, and you can watch all the action, Serie A, Champions League, CONCACAF, and so much more. So get going to that one. All right, the latest score right now. Well, Roma, by the way, won today. Sergio Oliveira scored and got sent off. A typical, fantastic experience there for the Roma player. But they won today in the Conference League against Vitesse. And Atalanta still trailing 1-0 as well to Leverkusen. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, Marco Messina is going to tell us how much fun he's having. All right. Calling Calcio, Christine Cupo, Drake Correro, LME. We'll be right back.
Back on Paramount Mountain, where entertainment lives.
Something's coming.
What is that?
It's the bucket of water from Flashdance.
Not this again.
Positions!
Oh my God. They killed Kitty. Bastards.
All right, Luis. Again, I'm so sorry that I cannot be on tonight. Let me show you where I am right now. I am in Genoa. The reason I cannot come tonight is because I'm actually going to be on a flight to Salerno to go see the Salernitana match. But yeah, we're here on the beach. We're about to film some content. We just finished with Sebastian Giovinco. He was with us. We did a fun challenge video, which I think the rest of our crew is going to really enjoy when they see it. We have been traveling around. Honestly, I don't remember even the places that I am in anymore. Today, Giovinco asked, where were you yesterday? And I said Napoli. I said Naples. But Tony reminded me that we were actually in Rome yesterday. So the days are starting to blur together. This weekend, we're going to Salernitana against Sassuolo. We're going to be shooting some content from the sidelines over there. Hopefully link up with some of the players and the teams. It's going to be fun. And then Monday, we start a whole new day going all the way back to Milan. And again, just more things with players. It's crazy. Italy is beautiful. I told the crew, Luis, you too. I know you're my New York brother. But I don't know if I'm ever coming back. It's too beautiful here. Calcio, food, coffee. It's got everything. Anyway, my man, hopefully next week I can catch up with you. For now, and enjoy my time on the beach.
Marco era in spiaggia, odio tante cose. I'm okay. I'm all right.
I'm so angry right now.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love that he's lost complete sense of what day it is and his actual geography. I strive for that level of greatness.
I am so angry.
For someone having the time of his life, and I know that he's having just a wonderful time out there, he's looking progressively more disheveled with every new clip, right? Like
he's aged 10 years, Draco.
I have to talk to him because there is actually a TikTok trend that's like 1 day in, 1 week in. Like we need to just actually have the stages.
Yeah, we do that with him. He's like he's Matt Damon in Saving Private Ryan at the end when he's looking at himself and he's aging and aging and aging.
He's gonna know how to make pro pizza, but he's not gonna be able to dress himself.
Marco Messina, we're so happy you're having a good time, and we look forward to hopefully having you on Calling Culture next week. Keep enjoying and staying safe, brother. By the way, Atalanta pulled level through Malinovsky, and then Lucho Muriel takes it 2-1. The Colombian, Jimmy Conrad and yours truly are the biggest fans of Muriel. He slowed down this season a little bit, but my God. But Atalanta 2-1. Christine Cupo. Not bad, huh?
Malinovsky, I'm part of that small hive. Never count that man out. So absolutely. Yeah, the thing is, like Atalanta 6th in the table for Serie A, and Leverkusen are 3rd in Bundesliga, but their playing styles are so similar that while all the betting lines, I'm pretty sure that I had seen had Atalanta coming out on top, this should still be a pretty fiery match.
It should be. Dre, I mean, how high do you give Atalanta in this competition?
They're having a bit of an off season, right? This is not the best version of Atalanta. They've been more inconsistent than in years past. And after finishing top three for what the last 3 seasons. It looks like that, not even close this campaign, but they still got a ton of quality. Luis Muriel didn't forget how to score goals. He's just scoring fewer of them. And it's a big moment for him to get on the score sheet. And also, anytime a Ukrainian scores a goal, it's a reason to celebrate right now.
At 100%. Yeah, preach. Well done.
Giving
Well
people
said.
a reason to celebrate.
100%, my friend. By the way, everybody, once again, Paramount Plus giveaway. Get up to 10,000 subs here on YouTube, and we'll give one lucky viewer the gift card for a $100 Paramount Plus subscription. All right, here's a little read. I'll make it nice and quick. But Serie A, Coppa Italia, Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, Scottish Premiership, CONCACAF, World Cup qualifiers. It's not just soccer, though. Earth's most advanced warrior, Master Chief, must defend humanity from the alien species, the Covenant, while unlocking dark secrets from his past in the new Paramount Plus original series, Halo. Stream it March 24th exclusively on Paramount Plus. Head to paramountplus.com/Halo to try it for free. Bet you didn't see a Halo read coming, Christine Cooper. I didn't know where that was going.
You're full of surprises. I'm here for this. As a master of chaos, I lean into all of this. Let's go. Halo, Serie A, Champions League, Europa League,
and Halo.
Backflip. It's fine.
I thought I was on a different pod for a second. I had to look up to make sure it was still Qué Golazo.
I had taken a few pills before. All right, but we're going back to our regular program, everybody. Calling Calcio. Obviously, we're wrapping up very soon, but we wanted to just end the segment with a good conversation and keep this rolling because the Scudetto race is super exciting, of course, as Des Norris puts that table up top. AC Milan, but they do have an extra game that they've played. They have 60 points. Inter, of course, right there as well with 58. Napoli, Juventus, Atalanta, Roma, Lazio, Fiorentina, Verona, Sassuolo. Christine, it's tight. There's Juventus, 4th. I mean, something Dre said at the very beginning, don't completely discount this race. How do you see it, especially as we look ahead to
Fino
the
alla
weekend?
fine, right? That's the credo. Fino alla fine. They're going to keep battling. It's just that we're certainly a weakened squad. We have McKennie done for the season, which is tragic because he was finally all in. It seemed like everything was moving in his direction. Actually, we have like half of a squad that's injured. We've got, I think, Rabiot, who's out. It should be interesting, the next matchup, despite the fact that it's Sampdoria. So we'll see.
We will see.
Should be a win, but I feel like over the last few seasons with Juve specifically, they've had this wonky matches you anticipate that they should easily win, they lose, and vice versa. So your guess is as good as mine. If Atalanta continue to show up, I think we're going to continue to see the top 4 slots shift. But I'm still focused on them getting a top 4 finish. I think they'll manage it because Allegri is good at managing it, but I don't think it'll be fun.
We're so accustomed to every single weekend in Serie A there being 1 or 2 just monster games, right? The 7 sisters, the top 7 teams in Italy, face off practically every single weekend. This is not one of those weeks. This is one of those weeks where all 7 of those teams will be favored in their matchups. And that said, what makes this really interesting, though, is that Milan, who are currently top of the table, albeit, Inter have a game in hand, have the most difficult of any of those matchups. Empoli are a side that, especially going up against big teams, play really, really tough. And not by being defensive, but quite the opposite. They play in your half. They take the ball away from you. They create a ton of opportunities. I did their game at the Stadio Maradona where Napoli were played off their own park by Empoli. And so that's one game I'm looking at this weekend is how Milan fare. Do they get a bit of vertigo being in first place or do they hold on? And again, the toughest of any of the contenders challenge this weekend.
Yeah, let's have a look at those fixtures as Christine chime in and Dre as well, please. Obviously, it begins on Saturday. Spezia, Cagliari, Salernitana, Sassuolo, Sampdoria, Juve, Milan, Empoli, Fiorentina, Bologna, Verona, Napoli, Udinese, Roma, Atalanta, Genoa, Torino, Inter, Lazio, Venezia. What speaks to you there, Christine? What match are you thinking about?
I think actually Milan-Empoli will be a really good one. And to Dre's point, Milan had fallen to Spezia. So again, you have like those wonky one-offs that could happen. You never know. They could have a little bit of stage fright up there. And probably, I think Udinese-Roma should be a pretty good matchup, but I also really like Beto. So we'll see how this goes. Torino-Inter might be a bit of a battle.
Yeah, Torino is another team that's better than their position on the table. Really good defensively as well. So Inter, going away to take on Torino, is not an easy one. So those are probably the two toughest challenges. They come for both the Milan teams, who were first and second, respectively, on the table coming into this round. But then also Napoli. It was about as lifeless is too strong, but pretty close to it against Milan, especially the front four of Napoli. I was not impressed at all. Osimhen was basically contained for the majority of that game. Insigne didn't create much. So now they're going up against Cholito Simeone, Verona, and Cholito Simeone, who's one of the most talked about players in Serie A this year.
God, I love him.
He's been terrific. He scores goals in bunches as well. He's challenging for the Capocannoniere. So even though there aren't those like big blockbuster matches this weekend in Serie A, these are all really intriguing games with terrific storylines.
Verona, by the way, unbeaten in their last 3 league matches against Napoli. They won one, drew twice, and the last time they registered a longest streak without defeat against Napoli in Serie A was between 79 and 83. So Verona is feeling good against Napoli in that one. That should be an intriguing one as well. All right, well, listen, that's your upcoming features. By the way, obviously, this is all on Paramount Plus, and these two part of the fantastic Italian coverage that we have had here at CBS Sports. It's been really great to see. Obviously, last weekend, as we mentioned, there was Christine Cupo in 2 bars, getting Milan fans really angry with her, blue attire. But Dre Cordero with Matteo Bonetti, very exciting looking ahead here. Dre, I don't know if we have you again soon. I wanted to quickly ask you about the Italian national team as well, because they are obviously getting ready for a World Cup qualifier. What do you envisage in this journey? Because it's not going to be easy. Of course, everybody pretty much thinking Italy against Portugal, the Italian national team, the European champions against, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo and co.
Yeah, I don't want to out them by name, but the Italians and Italian Americans that I work with intimately, let's say that, are all getting they got the rubber knees ahead of these matchups.
They're nervous, huh?
They're confident about North Macedonia. They're less so about potential matchup against Portugal. Can I just, let me plug something real quick, right? Because
please, this is it, my friend.
Again, but we've got, after this weekend, in which I said there weren't, the huge blockbuster Serie A games, I've got 5 games across 4 cities in 15-ish days. I won't mention the last one because it hasn't been announced yet. It's a bit of a surprise. But the 2 coming in 2 weeks' time, after the right before the international break, Inter Fiorentina and the Derby della Capitale, Roma Lazio. Those are 2 massive matches coming up in 2 weeks' time. And then we're going to Mexico City for at the Azteca World Cup qualifier.
One of the best cities in the world, everybody.
Bucket list stuff for me.
Yeah.
A game at which should be a packed Azteca, Mexico, USA.
I'm so excited
we're
for
closing
you.
that up with Costa Rica, USA, which could be in San Jose, could be in New York. We'll see where we actually call that one from. But Mexico City is the one I'm looking forward to the most.
It's going to be amazing, my friend. Absolutely incredible. And Mexico City, one of the best cities out there as well. Christine, anything that you want to, but how much are we going to see? Because, it was great to see you last weekend. Any other fun jobs you have coming up?
We shall see. I mean, I'll be loud about it when I know for sure, but otherwise you're stuck with me, my friend. Me and Gigi are always here ready to make it happen. But Christine Cupo is always here with us every single week, co-hosting this thing with me, calling Calcio. We're doing it because we love Serie A. We want to promote the hell out of it, especially from all the coverage from Paramount Plus. And Dre Cordero is a vital part of everything that we do here. Andrés Cordero, muchísimas gracias. Grazie, Dre Cordero. It's always a pleasure to have you, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you.
Listen, I appreciate it, but I just yell the names of players who you already know. So I appreciate that.
But you do it better than anybody else, okay? There's a point.
Exactly. One day I want you on a jazzy radio to just make it happen, Dre Cordero. Thank you so much. We didn't hit 10,000 subs. Shame on all of you, but we will make it happen for next time. Next time,
quick shout out to everybody in the chat. To Cliff, thank you for joining. Ilias, Dan, da Inglaterra, hello, my friend. Juventino, wonderful. Hopefully, we'll get to see you guys back in the chat next week. Thank you for joining.
100%. Thank you to all of you. And of course, calling Calcio fans and listeners. And of course, from Qué Golazo as well. Christine Cupo, thank you so much, my friend. We will see you soon again next week. And follow all her content on C Cupo, Twitter, Instagram, etc., CBS Sports, Paramount Plus. Christine, thank you.
Of course.
Hey, Dre Cordero, I hope I see you soon, my friend, and make sure you eat well at Mexico City as well.
Oh, street food. All about the street food.
Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day. We will see you next week on Calling Calcio. Till then, enjoy your weekend as well. See you later.